agents are doing a lot of running around, meeting up with their buyers and other agents to deliver the checks and get them to the designated trust account holder, and to do so in a timely manner. And as inconvenient as you know this is, the security is actually a much bigger issue. Your part as the broker is to match up the paper checks with executed purchase agreements, record and track all that information, deposit the check into your trust account within 3 days, and all the while, both agents and brokers are not fully aware of the status of that earnest money. It's a messy, time-consuming, and quite frankly, very unsecure process. That's why there's trust funds. For agents, trust funds really is as easy as 1, 2, 3. When an agent has an executed purchase agreement, they simply locate the property in the MLS and click on the trust funds icon. They'll have the opportunity to select the designated trust account holder from a menu. They'll complete the simple earnest money request form by entering their buyer's name, their email address, and the amount of the earnest money, and they're done. It's just that fast and easy. So let's walk through an example of just how easy that process is. We've worked with LBAR to fully integrate TrustFunds' secure electronic earnest money deposit to your market. Well, let's first walk through how an agent uses TrustFunds to initiate the earnest money deposit process for their buyer. When the buyer's agent is in the MLS, they'll locate the property, and on the listing detail page, as I'm showing you here, they'll see the Trust Funds icon in the Tools bar menu for that property. Clicking on the Trust Funds icon will link the agent into Trust Funds to begin the quick and easy process for their buyer. The first step in Trust Funds is to select the designated trust account holder from the menu presented on this page. We understand that in this market, earnest money is typically held by the buyer's broker. But in other markets, it may be common for the listing broker or even an outside third party, such as a title or escrow company, to hold the funds. Either way, the buyer's agent will select the designated trust account holder, which is typically agreed upon and listed on the purchase agreement. And the agent continues to the next step. This is the Notify My Buyer page. At this point, the agent will be able to confirm that the property and the designated trust account holder that they've selected is correct. And they must check the box indicating that they do have a fully executed purchase agreement for this property. The agent also has the choice to pay the $5 convenience fee for the earnest money payment or allow the buyer to do so as part of their process. Then the agent or one of the agent's team members simply enters the buyer's name, their email address, and the amount of the earnest money payment. That's it. They click Notify My Buyer button and they're done. The buyer receives an email with instructions and a secure link to Trust Funds to make their payment. Now, from a security standpoint, I want you to notice a few things. Because Trust Funds is integrated with your MLS, we can display the address and even an image of the property the buyer is purchasing right in the email. The email also contains the agent's name and a photo, so the buyer is very comfortable this is a legitimate request. Now the buyer simply clicks on the button in the email to be logged into Trust Funds' secure site to make their payment. When the buyer clicks on the link in their email, it takes them directly into Trust Funds' secure web form, just as you see here. The form is mobile friendly, so the buyer can easily submit their earnest money payment from their smartphone or their tablet or their computer. The payment form not only confirms the property and agent information, but the earnest money amount is included and locked down, so no mistakes can be made in the amount paid. The buyer simply enters their bank account information into this secure form. They agree to the terms and conditions of use, and if they're paying the convenience fee for this payment, they'll acknowledge that here as well. Now, if the agent is paying, this acknowledgement isn't even shown to the buyer. They process their payment and they're done. Now, from a timing standpoint, the buyer can expect the funds to be debited from their bank account on the very next business day, and both agents and brokers receive an email notice of that payment. So in addition to the real-time notifications, all members will also have detailed reporting in trust funds. Within your trust fund's broker account, you have access to view the transactions for your agent's buyers as well as for your firm's listings. You can see the various statuses indicating precisely when the buyer received the earnest money request, whether or not they've submitted their payment, and precisely when the payment has settled in your trust account. If a payment is returned for any reason, both agents and brokers are notified immediately. You know, with a paper check, notification of a bank return can take the banking system up to 10 days. And when every day counts, this can really jeopardize a transaction or a closing. Now, if your broker firm has multiple trust accounts, Trust Funds manages that too, right down to the specific office or MLS property number. To view additional details about each earnest money payment, choose the magnifying glass to open the payment history pop-up window. And I'll show you that now. The payment history provides detailed date and time-stamped information of every step in the process of the earnest money, confirming the bank account from which the funds were processed, and everything else that you can see here. This document also lists both agents and brokers involved in the transaction, and the payment history document can also be used in the lending process to confirm deposit of earnest money funds. This valuable information isn't even possible in the paper check process. Brokers will also have additional transaction and reporting tools. This is a sample deposit report, for instance, within Trust Fund's virtual terminal. The virtual terminal is the role-based software that allows your financial reporting team to see more detailed transaction and banking information. Today, with the paper check process, your actual bank account will show a deposit for each earnest money, but showing very little detail other than, the dollar amount. Then your staff, of course, needs to match those deposits to actual MLS numbers in order to reconcile. Because there's so many earnest money payments that can be for the same dollar amount as another, this can really be tricky and time-consuming. So with Trust Funds, you'll see the deposit report as shown above includes the buyer's name, the MLS property ID, and the precise date the buyer entered the transaction, along with the settle date. So reconciling is a snap with Trust Funds. Plus, if you processed electronic refunds, those would show here as well with the same level of detail. There's much more reporting and even custom report tools available to your financial staff in Trust Funds. There's no need to switch banks. You'll continue to manage your existing trust accounts with your bank the same as you do today. So as you can see, Trust Funds truly is reinventing the earnest money process and revolutionizing this piece of a real estate transaction. Now buyers can submit their earnest money safely and conveniently from their own smartphone or computer to deposit their funds directly into the designated trust account. With Trust Funds, gone is the inconvenience for agents running all over town or mailing paper checks. Plus, you're no longer responsible for handling paper checks and protecting that bank account information. Trust Funds maintains personal data privacy and security measures in accordance with the highest level of data security standards. So there's no more concern over regulatory compliance either, and whether the earnest money payment has been deposited in a timely manner. With real-time notifications to all parties, you can be confident that the earnest money payment has been made and will not delay or disrupt the closing process. Another unique benefit to Trust Funds is the ability for the trust account holder to process a refund electronically in the case of a canceled purchase agreement, for instance. This can be a big relief to the buyers who may need those funds for a different transaction. So, of course, your question is, how much will this cost? I'm showing you a screen here that will display precisely the broker-specific fees for your broker firm. So, I'm going to walk you through, how to get here. You'll simply go to trustfunds.us.com and you'll enter your, you'll choose the register now and you'll select your MLS. This will take you to a page where you'll enter your MLS firm ID and an email address. An email will be sent to you authenticating you as the broker and allowing you to log into Trust Funds and view your broker-specific fees just as I'm showing you here. So join now. You'll receive a promotional rate for your Trust Fund subscription special for LBAR. That is $15 a month until 2018. So no matter what size broker firm you are, you will receive this $15 special rate monthly. And then beginning in January 2018, your rate will adjust to the standard monthly subscription fee that you'll see listed on this page when you start that process. You'll also see the other fees associated with your trust funds account. There is an e-check vendor account. That's actually the processing account that moves the money. Trust funds never has access to your funds. Those go directly between that processor, the buyer's bank account, and your trust account. So there's a processing fees associated with that, and you'll see all of that detail on this page as well. So then that step in the registration will also give you additional detailed information about what's next and what documentation is needed in the process to register. So when you're ready, you can begin the registration process. You can get to that page and view your broker-specific fees, which will begin in January of 2018, and you'll also be able to confirm that you are receiving that promotional $15 a month promotional rate for LBAR until that time. So when you're ready, begin that process, view those specific fees for your broker firm, and if for any reason you're not wanting to proceed at that time, you simply abandon and with no obligation to continue. So it's easy. Get started today. We hope that you'll take advantage of the special LBAR promotional discount rate for the rest of 2017. The registration process, as you can see, is very fast and easy. We've had brokers complete the registration process in as little as a day, and as soon as their account is activated, they're receiving earnest money that same day too. So encourage your agents to use trust funds whenever they represent buyers, and they can also encourage other agents to use trust funds as well. Once you're registered, you'll find a launch kit loaded with information and tools to help you communicate with your agents about using trust funds. So it's simple. Trust funds is earnest money made easy. So thank you all. And Terry, do we have any questions here from our brokers?
Yeah, thanks, Karen. As I'm looking through the questions here, one thing I just wanted to point out is that promotional kit that is available once you register is really geared towards making the messaging very templated and easy for your agents to be able to then start using trust funds as well and getting educated on how simple it really is. We have markets that have rolled out trust funds, and agents actually get upset when they can't use trust funds for a particular listing because it is so much simpler and so much more secure than the current way of earnest money being handled. One question that did come in, Karen, is does the property have to be listed on the MLS in order for it to work with trust funds? So I'm assuming that's probably maybe somebody that's doing a for sale by owner, or maybe they're just selling it without listing it, but would like to use trust funds. Is that possible?
Absolutely not. All of the transactions really are connected through that MLS. And so the MLS property must be listed, or the property must be listed with the MLS for this to work with trust funds. Now, I have had agents, of course, where they had not yet put the property on the MLS, but with a pretty much real-time flow of data between the MLS and trust funds, if you find yourself in that position, of course, get that property listed so that you can use trust funds.
Great. And you had mentioned a question about the convenience fee. There's a $5 convenience fee for each transaction. And explain, I guess, how is that paid for?
Sure. Well, the agent, first and foremost, has the ability in their own profile to indicate whether they wish to pay that convenience fee every time, or even optionally for every property that they use trust funds for. So they get the first choice. Do they want to pay it, or would they like their buyer to pay it? And I can tell you, in most markets, the buyer is happily paying that. The agents, for the most part, are wanting that buyer to pay. But certainly there are agents who find that to be a value add, and they're going to pay that for their buyer. But that is a process first in the agent's profile to decide that. And then if they decide that their buyer will pay that fee, that's just the second transaction that will happen in the process. As soon as the earnest money is processed, that convenience fee will be processed to that buyer's bank account or to the agent, whichever is chosen for that transaction. Happens automatically.
Great. Yeah, that answered one of the questions that just came in, is how is that paid? And it is a direct ACH from whatever account, whether the agent has decided to pay that $5 convenience fee because it's so much more convenient and secure for their buyer and them, or whether they've passed that on to the buyer, it'll be an ACH. And in the case of, I've had other agents be concerned of, let's say it's $1,000 earnest money. Well, does that mean they'll have $1,000 and $1,005 come out? No, it's two separate transactions, because of course we realize that that earnest money has to stand alone in the trust account. So it'll be $1,000 plus the $5 convenience fee. Another question has come in, will trust funds be partnering with Greater Louisiana Association of Realtors?
You're probably a better one to answer that one, Terry.
Well, I would say we would love to. Currently, we do not have a signed agreement with them, but of course, we are expanding across the country. And it always works better when the MLSs are kind of bunched together and there's zones that cross over and things like that that we're with more and more. So we would love to do that. Right now, I would just encourage you to maybe have their people give us a call. We would love to be able to talk with them. Let's see if there's other questions here. A couple other questions. I'm not sure on this one, affiliated with Greater Louisiana Realtors. I'm not familiar with the market enough there to know exactly how that affiliation works or whatever. But again, happy to talk with them and get the information to them about how they can have their association join as well. Another question came in here. Are there detailed instructions for pulling reports for the brokerage accounting department?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there's video-based training and information available to the brokers and to the agents really about how to use trust funds. So it's really quite easy, and especially as it relates to the reporting and the reconciling with your bank, absolutely that process will be improved and much easier for your staff. And full instructions, and of course our support team is excellent. And if you need to call in or send an email with a question, they're right there, ready to help you with anything like that.
Yeah, and I can just add to that too, in the fact that you can set up your account as a broker to receive as many or as few emails as you'd like as well. So as transactions are happening, you can receive emails of all those transactions. If that becomes a little bit too much, you can always turn those features off and just use the reporting features. And as Karen mentioned too, the great thing and something that brokerages love is the ability to ACH those funds directly back to that buyer should something happen with the deal. So that is a feature that you can choose to enable or not as well. But it is very convenient to just be able to go in, and within the reporting software, it's very simple to refund and ACH those funds back should something go wrong with the purchase agreement. So I think I've covered pretty much the questions here, and definitely appreciate everyone's time. I know Margot at the association office there is excited about getting this rolling out and has had some of other communications going out about this, but questions can be directed towards her or towards us directly. We want to make sure it goes smoothly for you guys and get you guys using it as soon as possible. So
Wonderful.
Karen, I think we're done for today.
Wonderful. Look forward to seeing you hop on Trust Funds. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.